Salutations, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of PTV FC. I'm your host, Louie Pasculli, and I'm joined by two of the best analysts around, Jimmy Bliss and Ryan Johnston. And as of right now, we are recording on a Wednesday, and this is really big for Ryan because he's not too familiar with soccer being played on Wednesdays. So, guys, how you doing?
Yeah, I was doing all right until that. It hasn't been that long. It's only been 5 years, Louis. All right.
That doesn't sound any better, man.
So you can shut your trap. All right. How about that?
You're just gonna start talking about Jadon Sancho, so maybe I should.
Yeah.
I'm just here in the background. I'm doing good, Louis. I'm glad to be here, but yeah, I was pretty taken aback by that. But you're not too wrong there, Louis. You're not too wrong.
Didn't know we were going to be having beef this episode, but it's cool. It's cool.
But we do have soccer to talk about that does not involve Arsenal, and it's about the Euros. As we are approaching the final game of this competition, I want to look back first, and I want to get your thoughts of anything that stood out to you, any highlights you have, anything you really can remember about this tournament as a whole, anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I'll go first. So I want to highlight England, the Three Lions, and I know that coming into this tournament, there was a lot of question marks about their defense. Everyone thought that their attack was going to be fantastic. Everyone thought their midfield was going to be really good. But then there were question marks about who's going to be a good center back pairing. Jordan Pickford's not really up to par. Left back, question mark. Luke Shaw, is he really world class? And who's going to play right back? But they've conceded just one goal so far in 6 games. And that came today off of Worldy, off of Damsgaard's right foot, and off a free kick. And apart from that, they have played really, really solid soccer over this past 6 games. I mean, even up top, they've scored 10 goals altogether with 1 own goal, 4 Harry Kane goals, 3 Sterling goals, and then a Maguire and Henderson goal. So 10 goals in 6 games, pretty good. Conceding just 1, really, really impressive. And I know they haven't been playing the best attacking teams per se. I mean, they've played Croatia and Germany, but that's really the most crucial, really good attacking teams that they've played. But still, to allow just 1 goal in 6 games, I was really impressed by them so far. I know the squad selection has been questionable, but it looks like Gareth Southgate has it all figured out, and he's getting result after result right now for the Three Lions.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually going to go with a team that's not in the tournament anymore. And, there is an Arsenal player on this squad, or at least a player that is going to be leaving Arsenal very soon. Granit Xhaka in Switzerland, because, their run was really improbable. And I really want to shout out Jan Sommer for his role, because he was just absolutely incredible throughout these Euros so far. I mean, he's had 21 saves and only 9 goals conceded for Switzerland. And they were 3rd in their group coming in, and they were going to play France. They actually beat France. That is insane to me. Just really defied the odds. I know it was on penalties, but a win's a win nonetheless. And then taking Spain to penalties too, and falling to them in the quarterfinals, unfortunately. But Jan Sommer, he might be the keeper of the tournament for me, because he just played such a pivotal role for Switzerland. And they had a really good run. I'm surprised they made it so far, to be honest.
Both of you guys bring up great points, and I want to also talk about a team that is no longer in the tournament, and it's North Macedonia. Why? Why would I talk about arguably the worst team in the tournament? Because Gorgon Pandev gave this team their first goal in a major tournament ever, and then they went out and scored another goal in the very next game. So even though they didn't get a win this tournament, they didn't do very well. If you guys watch the WSOU hour-long podcast we have previewing the tournament, I still can't really tell a player on that team, except for my guy who scored, Goran. But nevertheless, I think that was really cool to see, because I remember a question was posed in that podcast that I just mentioned. Were they going to be a dark horse? Were they going to take teams by surprise? And I think we all pretty much answered no, but I still like to see them get on the board, get on the score sheet for the first time in a major tournament. That was just cool, something I wanted to highlight and bring to the table here. But as the finals are already set, it's going to be England versus Italy. That's going to happen on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And although these are very, very big teams, of the 4 that are left, these 2 are definitely the biggest. There are some big teams who did not make it as far, didn't even make it to the semifinals. I mean, like France, Belgium, Germany, Portugal, teams of that nature. What do you guys make of them being a little bit under expectations?
Yeah, I mean, apparently the World Cup curse is real for France because they really just could not find the target. I mean, I know they won 2018 World Cup. Their next major, they're out in the round of 16, coming in as the heavy, heavy favorites in most people's eyes. I mean, they shot 26 shots against Switzerland. 8 were on target. All right. That's not a very good shot to shot on target ratio from the start. And you really just got to be more clinical. That's it. You've got to take advantage of the chances that you get for France, and they didn't on the day, and that's really what cost them. As for Germany, I mean, they just looked lethargic against England, if I'm being honest with you. It just did not look like the Germany at all that I was expecting to come out. Um, they really just did not play up to snuff. And obviously it reflected in the score sheet. Um, and after their performance in the group stage, coming out of that group second, as Louie and I predicted, I like to shout out. Jimmy, you didn't predict that one, by the way.
You're right, I didn't, but they also bowed out in the round of 16. So
that's not important. That's not important. We're only talking about the group stage here.
We still got that prediction right. So
yeah, we got that one right. But you didn't. Wait, we got it right. You didn't.
Well, but you also got the France going all the way and winning the final prediction wrong.
We can all talk about the predictions we got wrong, okay? Because you also said that Portugal was going all the way. You said Belgium was going all the way. So let's just cool it here. Let's pump the brakes, all right, buddy?
And to be fair, everyone in the right mind said France is going to win this tournament.
Well, I'm going to tell you why France didn't win the tournament right now. Wait, Ryan, are you done yet?
You have the floor, Jimmy. You know what? It's all yours. It's all yours. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it.
So France, they are obviously the most talented team on paper, right? But the squad selection was a little bit weird as well.
And football is not played on paper, right, Mr. Jim?
It's not played on paper, my man, Louie. We got to hashtag that and just copyright it, put it everywhere over the street.
We should get shirts. PTV FC, football's not played on paper. Christian, hit us with some merch next summer.
But anyway, I'm going back to my original point. France, they have a lot of really, really, really good players, but they're all the stars of their team for their club. So they don't really know how to play as a good cohesive unit, as well as they all have really big egos, which came hugely into play. And it all kind of got released as soon as they lost the game against Switzerland. There was apparently Paul Pogba was getting pointed at, even though I think he was their best player all tournament wrong. I think Raphael Varane was pointing the finger. Rabiot was also pointing the finger. Kylian Mbappe was yelling at Griezmann. Griezmann didn't like it, and he was yelling at Mbappe as well. It just all kind of fell apart for France. And you can be as talented as you want to be, but you're not going to win a tournament if you can't play as a team. That's exactly what France did in 2018. They were able to play as a team, and win the World Cup, but they just didn't really look cohesive enough here in Euro 2020. As for the Red Devils, no, not Manchester United, my other Red Devils in Belgium, I think that the only reason why they're not sitting here in the final is due to injuries. I think that they were snake bitten by the injury bug, and we saw the best out of Eden Hazard in that game against Portugal. I think that he was the best player on the field against Portugal, between Belgium and Portugal in the round of 16 game. He was running down the wing, had a really good connection with his brother Thorgan Hazard, which eventually led to the goal. And he was just getting fouled left, right, and center, slowing down the game. If he was healthy for that game against Italy, I think it would have gone the other way. But alas, he wasn't healthy. And Kevin De Bruyne, again, he wasn't 100% healthy either. So I'm going to give Belgium a little bit of a pass. I was a little bit disappointed, but I can understand why they bowed out against a great Italy team.
Yeah, and you guys pretty much touched on everything that I wanted to say. But Jimmy, to your point specifically, I think Italy surprised some people, because I remember in that podcast that I mentioned last segment, we were we said Italy had a good team. I was going to go far, but we kind of were talking down on Italy in the sense that we didn't think they'd be in the finals right now. And that goes for all three of us. None of us really thought that they were going to be as good as they were. And I even said, in order for them to progress this far and really be a team that can compete with a big team such as Belgium, they're going to have to be good defensively. And that they were. They've only given up one goal. They've given up more than one goal in the tournament, but they haven't given up more than one goal in any specific game. and that was interesting to me. And I'm still kind of mad Germany lost. I think they showed flashes of the Germany that we know, like from 2014, and when Germany was very, very good, but they just simply got outplayed by England. And it was really crazy because I was watching basically the entire game. It was 0-0, and then I work as a delivery driver, and I had to go out for a delivery, and I come back, and Germany's losing 2-0, and I was like, what just happened? And England just was able to flip a switch, go from playing defensively to playing offensively, and really just impose their will on I'd say tired German team, which is something that you don't really see at Germany because those players are relatively fit. But I think with the squad selection and I could just see that England had, well, Southgate had a very good squad selection for that game, but also England was the more fit team, and in that game they had more quality than Germany, and so they were just able to come out on top, and it was quite unfortunate to see. But now they are in the finals, so that is going to be interesting to watch. And speaking of the finals, before I want to talk about that though, I do want to talk about these semifinals that we just watched. Actually, two fantastic games. It was Italy versus Spain and Denmark versus England. Tell me what you guys took from those games, and tell me what you guys are thinking about those games as a whole.
So I think that I don't think I'll be the only one to say this, but I was a little bit disappointed with Italy's showing against Spain. I thought that they looked very, very slow. I thought they looked pretty poor. I think that Spain was the better team over the 90 minutes and over 120 minutes. It's just they couldn't finish. I mean, they had so many opportunities to take the lead and to go on and win the game. But I mean, when you have Alvaro Morata up top, I mean, you can't really expect too much. I mean, I know he scored, but I still do not think very highly of Alvaro Morata. But I mean, all these players like Dani Olmo had a fantastic opportunity to open the scoring, wasn't able to do so. Oyarzabal had two opportunities to open the scoring. He couldn't connect with either one of them. And then all of a sudden, off a counterattack, Italy's able to score a goal off of Chiesa, who had a fantastic run, able to brilliantly put the ball into the back of the net. But still, if you're Spain, you can't let that happen when you have over 70% possession up to that point, and then off of one counterattack, it's just all gone. And then as for England, I thought that they were good today. I didn't think they were great. They didn't really impress me that much, but I thought they were good. They deserved the win. The penalty kick was a little bit suspect that was given for Raheem Sterling. According to VAR, it was given and it was awarded. I didn't see it that way, but nonetheless, they did get the penalty kick. They did convert because Harry Kane is a really, really good striker. And I really think that they should have gotten awarded a penalty kick earlier in the game with that Harry Kane challenge. But anyway, they weren't, and they got awarded the other one. All was good in the world because they got a penalty kick out of the situation. But I think this is going to be a really, really intriguing matchup between England and Italy. And I'm really excited to see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy made my job really hard because he touched on a lot of the stuff that I wanted to touch on right there. Spain, they had the ball for so much of the game. They just didn't seem like they could do anything with it. I think I made the comparison of them to Arsene Wenger's squads in his later years with Arsenal. They would just pass the ball around and they couldn't really do a whole lot with it. And that's kind of what Spain did. And they really should have won that game. They really should have. But, Italy, scrappy team, comes out with a win to the chagrin of the Spanish fans. And I think England, especially with Denmark, obviously losing Christian Eriksen earlier in the tournament because of that cardiac arrest. Unfortunate, obviously. We hope he's doing all right. But I think they're just a more talented squad, and that's really what showed today. They're not going to be able to win that way against Italy, I don't think. I think these two teams are very similarly matched talent-wise. England may have a slight advantage talent-wise, but I think Italy, in some cases, is better organized. So we'll touch on that a little later. But, I think England won because of their talent, and Italy kind of got a lucky win against Spain, to be honest with you.
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys a little bit. And I understand why you think Italy didn't play that well. But I think when you play a team like Spain, right, and also your style is more of a defensive team, you have to sit back and take Spain's punches. They're going to have the ball for 80% of the game. I might be exaggerating, but not by much. They're going to have 800 passes in the game. So there's not much Italy can do other than sit back and hope to defend and defend well. And that's exactly what they did. I think Spain had a relatively good game, but we saw excuse me, we saw Italy come out on top in this game. So Italy had to have played somewhat decent in order to not concede 4 goals to this Spain team that was just passing the ball around at will. And also, Italy had 2 goals, I believe it was 2 goals that were called offsides that very well could have been goals. Both of which were very close. The second one was really, really close. Neither of which needed VAR, but nevertheless, those 2 could have changed the game, and there wouldn't have been a penalty shootout. But I disagree with you guys in the sense that I don't think Italy played that poorly.
I just think that they were the best team so far in the tournament up to the semifinals, that I expected a little bit more from them in that semifinal affair against Spain, who looked kind of not that great this entire tournament. I mean, they had that one game where they scored 5 goals against Slovakia, but apart from that, they were kind of lackluster for most of this tournament. So I think that when you're a team like Italy, you should be able to capitalize. But fair play to them, they did win. But I do think it was a wake-up call for their defense to play a little bit better and deal with the forward line of what's to come against England a little bit better.
Italy was really dominant throughout the tournament. I mean, they didn't drop a single point in their group. They looked really good against, I believe, Austria and Belgium. Obviously, they played earlier, and Jimmy was obviously not very happy about that result. But it is what it is. They played a good game, and yeah, I don't think I can understand where you're coming from, Louis, where they are trying to play more counterattacking and use the pace of players like Insigne to try and get some goals on that counterattack. But I mean, they're strong throughout. I don't feel like they have to play counterattacking against Spain. I think that they can absorb some pressure, sure, but it kind of just seemed like Spain was passing around them at some points, and I'm just not used to seeing that from Italy, to be honest. I think that they're a higher quality squad than that. So that's just my thoughts on it.
That's true, but even defensively, they still only conceded 1 goal, and it was on a penalty, a kick. So I don't. Spain really couldn't do anything in that the final third. Math is a little bit hard sometimes. The final third, Spain really didn't have anything going for them. Yeah, they had some chances and they had a boatload of possession, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see how this game translates into the final, because now they're going to play a team against England. And I think it was you that said it, Ryan. You said England's a little bit more talented. I think that they're a lot more talented simply because of how versatile they are. I mean, Southgate, it seems like he has a different lineup every single match, but it works. They keep winning, they keep scoring, and they don't concede. So tell me what you guys think is going to happen in this final game.
It's gonna be a really good game, I think. I almost want to say it's coming home just for the banter, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of thinking that so many games in both this Euro and even the Copa America have gone into penalties, and I almost see this one going into penalties too. I think it's at least going to go into extra time because these squads, I believe, are very closely matched. Um, it's going to depend on whether we see that Italy that we saw versus Spain or the Italy that we were seeing for the rest of the tournament, because Harry Kane is a lot more clinical than Alvaro Morata. Just straight up, he's not going to miss the shots that Spain were missing in that game. And I know Jimmy's not a huge fan of him, but England have players like Raheem Sterling and even Phil Foden who can just get the ball. They can cross it. They can get chances in the box where Spain couldn't. I think England is like you said, Louis, a more versatile squad. Even Bukayo Saka, who actually played against Denmark in that semifinal. Go Gunners! Come on now, don't say we aren't represented in the Euros. But yeah,
he played well too.
He played a good game. So I'm kind of leaning towards England at this point in time, but you can't discount the passion that the Italy players have. I mean, we've all seen the play. I think Chiellini and I don't even remember who else, but we've seen the videos of him screaming Italy's national anthem before the games, just like bellowing it out. So these guys definitely want to win for their country. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really close game, but I'm kind of giving the edge to England right now. I think it's going to come home.
Now, I want to be with you, Ryan, and I want to say it's coming home and sing the song just as a sound clip for future reference. But I don't know right now. I mean, I came into today's episode saying, okay, I'm going to say England's going to win because I'm not a huge fan of Italy, and I really like England. I mean, they also play 2 Manchester United players in their starting 11, so how can I not like them? I mean, we got Manchester United, we got some Arsenal. Doesn't look like we have any Dortmund representation in this final, though, do we?
Yeah, thanks to Manchester United. We would have, but then he got bought.
Yeah, so we got 3 Manchester United boys in there. We got an Arsenal boy, and none for Dortmund yet, but we'll see. But anyway, I really like what Southgate has done. I know it might be sounding a little bit weird, but he just knows how to get results. He knows how to manage a football game really, really well. And he really knows how to win these types of grudge matches, these types of games where you can just pretty much pick your starting 11 with a blindfold and they can go out there and they can do absolutely anything they want to do. I think that if they are able to go out there and pretty much play as they did against Denmark and against Ukraine, they're going to have a really, really good game. I would make a few subs personally. I think that Jordan Henderson should definitely play. I think that Jack Grealish should be getting more playing time. I think Jadon Sancho should be getting a lot more time because he's played 1 game this entire tournament, and I think he's the best right winger on the squad.
I was gonna say, like Louis, you don't even have to worry about it because he's not playing Sancho either way. Like, doesn't matter.
Now that he's not part of the Bundesliga, he might though. Now that he's part of a English team.
Yeah, now that he's at Manchester United, he'll probably take that extra step up, and maybe now Southgate will actually realize how good he actually is. And so I think that if you were able to play Jack Grealish for more than 20 minutes at a time, like today, he only played for 15 minutes before he was taken off, which I didn't understand either. And if you're able to stop playing some of these players that aren't as great and you put in a Jadon Sancho, a Jack Grealish, guys like these, you can really push Italy to the edge. But alas, I think it's going to be Italy that takes home the Euros for the 2nd time in their history. I think that this team has looked the best so far in the entire tournament, and I just don't see them getting slowed down. The way that they attack is absolutely phenomenal, and they have a really deep squad as well. I mean, you're able to bring a guy like Federico Chiesa off the bench, and he's able to just rip through these defenses. Locatelli has been phenomenal as well. And I think that Roberto Mancini has figured out a great way for these Italians to play. And ultimately, I think that they're going to be walking away from Wembley, and they're going to be saying it's coming to Rome, not coming home.
Wow. I like that. Trademark it. That's the second thing we got to trademark. That blew me away. But you guys are really going to make somebody who's half Italian be the tiebreaker of England versus Italy. For me, I just said it. I got to go with my native country of Italy. Now, I think that because these 2 teams are very defensive, we've said it on the show that England, the only time they gave up a goal was last game against Denmark, and Italy has yet to given up more than 1 goal in a game. I'm excited to see how defensive England plays, though, because it's going to be, like I said, it's 2 defensive teams. So I think England can afford to get up the pitch, push their left and right backs up into the midfield, and really take control offensively, which is something we really haven't seen them done for the entirety of this tournament because they haven't had to. They were able to just flip a switch and be offensive. But I'm wondering if Southgate is going to have a more attacking starting 11 for this game, or is he going to have a more defensive starting 11 for this game? I'm sure it'll be different than last game because that's usually what it is. Is Jadon Sancho going to play? I hope he does, but I don't know if he will though because he hasn't played yet. But nevertheless, like even Mason Mount and Jack Grealish, those are guys who are more attacking minded than Rice and can I forget the other guy's name, but who are more defensive minded center backs. So it's really tough to call now because I really don't know what's going to happen. And I'm very interested and excited to see what does happen. But for me, I mean, Italy's back line and goalkeeper are just so good. I love watching them play because it's really, they put on a clinic every time they take the pitch. And Donnarumma is like 20, 21 years old, which is awesome. That he's playing at such a high level at such a young age. I love watching him. My friend Pat, he's a goalie as well, and he always tells me just how crazy his saves are. So whenever I watch it, I'm like, yeah, like this dude is for real. So I would love to see him win some hardware at such a young age, and Italy as a whole, really, because they haven't won anything for quite a few years. It's been for Italy. So I think it's coming to Rome is a little bit more fitting than it's coming home. And I like saying it, so it's fun. But we just totally went in depth in the Euros, but that is not the only competition that's going on right now. Down in South America, we have the Copa America, and that tournament is also set to have its final be played on Saturday at 8 p.m. And what do you know? It's Messi versus Neymar, Argentina versus Brazil. It should be a fun one. What are you guys thinking going into this game?
This is Brazil's game to lose. I really think that they are the best squad in South America, and I don't think it's close. If you compare the starting 11s between Argentina and Brazil, and you just put them side by side, right? Argentina has one better player than Brazil in the entire starting 11 position for position. That's Lionel Messi. And I know Lionel Messi's had a fantastic tournament, 9 goal contributions so far, 4 goals, 5 assists. He's been absolutely world class, and I still think he's the best player in the world, but that is a conversation for a different day. I think that Argentina, their squad really lets him down. It's just kind of him and a bunch of mediocre, all right players around him, unlike the Argentina that we're accustomed to, where the prime Aguero, prime Di Maria, all these really good players, Mascherano at the back, they really don't have that anymore. I mean, their second best player in this tournament has been Emiliano Martinez, the Aston Villa goalie. Like, I know he's been good, but you can't have an Aston Villa player be your second best player in the tournament.
Hey, he's been really good. And if you watched last night, he did a great job in penalties.
Another former gunner.
There we go. Maybe
we let him go. We actually let him go.
Isn't it crazy how everyone leaves Arsenal and becomes better?
Oh,
he was good for Arsenal. We just let him go because he wasn't getting enough playing time.
I think Leno's better anyway. But
I do too, yeah.
Anyway, on to my point. I think Brazil is going to win this game. I think they're probably going to win it. I'm going to say 2-1. I think that Messi is going to be able to score a goal, but I ultimately think Brazil is going to win this tournament.
Yeah, I'm really pulling for Argentina too. I think I really want Messi to win his first major international trophy. I think that would be a super cool way for him to maybe end his international career with Argentina. Who knows if he's going to come back for the 2022 World Cup. He probably is, especially if they lose. But I really hope he wins one nonetheless because, Ronaldo won the Euros in 2016. And I think it is indeed Messi's turn. But I got to go, just looking at their squads, it's just a completely uneven matchup. It's not even fair. You've got Neymar, their back line itself is just ridiculous. Ederson, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Danilo. I don't know who their left back is really, but that's just a great back line right there. I mean, Brazil really is a top contender for the World Cup next year, and they're playing against they 1-0 Peru, which wasn't the most convincing result, but watching the game, they were just passing around them again, like Spain was, and Neymar had a really good solo run, and they got a goal that way. So, I think Brazil's going to win, but I'm really hoping Argentina can pull it out somehow.
We must not have beef this episode, Ryan, because I'm on the exact same page as you are. I'm really hoping Messi gets his international trophy. I think that'd be so cool for him, so cool for Argentina, because as Jimmy mentioned, Argentina was one of the most talented squads around, and they couldn't seem to put anything together, couldn't seem to finally get it done. But yeah, as both of you guys have mentioned, Brazil is an absolute powerhouse. They have so many good players. But who knows? Maybe the former Arsenal and current Aston Villa goalie will pull something out, save a few big shots. And if it goes to penalties, there's no extra time. There's no overtime. It goes straight to penalties. That'll be interesting to see because then it's anybody's game at that point. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I think Brazil is going to win, but I really do hope that, for Argentina and Messi's sake that they can win. That's all the time we have for today's episode of PTV FC. For my amazing panel of Jimmy Bliss and Ryan Johnston and producer Christian Gardner, thank you for watching. Have a great day, stay safe, and see you next time.